everyone. Welcome to the Ewe Girl Podcast. I'm Janine, also known as Ewe Girl, and this is my channel where I talk about the knitting, crocheting, crafting, sewing, cross-stitching, dyeing, designing, whatever I'm into at the moment. Most of what you're going to see is knitting content because that is usually what I am obsessed with, but I do throw some other things in there from time to time. So thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I know that everybody is busy and there's lots of different podcasts out there to watch and enjoy. And I just appreciate you guys taking a little bit of your time to share that with me. I love this community and I'm really very excited to be back. I haven't podcasted in probably a month and a half, maybe. There's been a lot going on, and with the summertime, my kids are home all the time. The space is not an enclosed space anymore. So when I podcast and the family's home, I feel really kind of ridiculous because I'm just talking to myself, and I know that they're in the background listening to me and kind of making fun of me or giggling at me or whatever. So it's just easier if I do this by myself. I get less distracted from them being in the house. So now that school has started, I am back and I should be able to do this on a more regular basis. I am working still at the pharmacy. If you guys know my regular job, I am a pharmacist, and then I own Yarnandew online. It's yarnandew.com, which is a yarn store, and then I design knitting patterns and things like that. So if you're new to the podcast, that's who I am in a small little nutshell, and I'm really glad, though, to be back because it's been quite a long time. And I'm a little rusty, I have to say. I have been tried to start this video multiple times. I had it going pretty well a couple times, and then I just went blah, 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 and I couldn't get it. So anyway, we're just gonna go with it this time, I think. And you guys, I apologize if I sound a little rusty, and because I haven't done this in a while, but I have lots and lots to show you guys. My puppy's here. You can't really see him, but he's like got his head in my lap. He's the only one who can hang out with me when I'm podcasting because he doesn't judge. So I have lots of finished objects. I've been really busy with some new designs kind of coming, and I have my Fibre company design coming up that is going to be releasing November 4th. I have it out right now to test knitters, so I will talk to you guys a little bit about that. I've got some hats I've done, a sweater, another couple things. There's just kind of a lot. So we'll just dive right into it. The first thing I'll show you guys is my design so I'm collaborating with the Fibre company for their fall 2019 winter 2020 collection. And I've designed a pair of fingerless mitts, and I'm just putting them on so I can show you guys. The yarn I used for these is Road to China Light in the Apatite color. And there they are. Let's get that. It's weird when you show them. There they are in all of their finished splendor. I can't remember if I had them finished last time I showed you guys. I may have. It's been so long, I don't know. So, but I really like them. I love like lightweight mitt like this because they're perfect for work. You can, type on your computer still. I can open pill bottles and, do everything that I need to do in my job because sometimes it gets kind of cold in the pharmacy. So these are great for that. And the design is like a cabled and bobbled motif. And I think that's going to be the name of the pattern. It's going to be cabled and bobbled mitt. And like I said, it'll be coming out November 4th. That is the deadline, the release date, I should say, with the Fibre company. And it will be available on Ravelry. I do carry Road to China Light in my shop, but you can also get some from the Fibre company directly, and a lot of other places carry that brand. They say, like, Ravelry says it's a sport weight, which I suppose it is. I kind of think of it as a fingering weight, or a little bit heavier than a fingering weight. But yeah, very nice. I ended up doing these on a US 2, and I used a 9-inch circular needle so that I didn't have laddering up the side, which that helped quite a bit. I know I was telling you guys that I struggled with the laddering when I was using a magic loop method for that. And I kept getting, when you're doing a purl stitch all the way around the reverse stockinette, you end up, if you don't pull it like really tight, I guess I was getting looser stitches, and I had like this line down the side of the pattern, which I did not like. And I tried a couple different techniques and really couldn't find anything that I thought helped. I did try, like I said, a couple different techniques, but I never really came up with anything that I thought was great. So I just switched to a 9-inch circular, and that did help. It was a little trickier for me because I'm not a huge fan of 9-inch circulars. I really like a longer needle where I can rest my hand on it. But I made it work, and that is done. And it took me a little bit of kind of my mojo. I wanted to like focus and get this pattern like finished and written up, because of having a deadline loom over me. Sometimes when I do a design myself, if I'm not feeling it, or I don't think it's quite ready, I can put it off. I can tweak it. I can do some different things. Well, I couldn't really do that with this. It had a set deadline, and I wanted to make sure I had plenty of time to get it tech edited, which it's been tech edited now, so that's good, and have sufficient time for my testers to be able to test the pattern before it was released. So for me, my goal was to get it done earlier part of August, and that happened, which was good, but it kind of put me in a funk for my other knitting for a while. And I tried to start a couple new projects, but things weren't really working out. So I cast on a couple different things, and then ended up ripping out a couple different things. So I'll talk to you guys a little bit about that too. But it really was harder for me having the deadline. I'm so happy though that I got it done and that I'm working with them. I mean, I'm very honored that they chose my design. It was just a different experience for me having that, I have to get this done. It was like having homework again. And most of the time I'm a big procrastinator when it comes to homework, and I really didn't want to do that. I did not want to be crunching down to the wire and having those mitts, kind of that deadline sort of looming over me. So I made sure to get that out of the way. And once those were done, I could start kind of casting on a lot of different things. So I also was working on a sweater, and I'm trying to remember the name of it now. I'm going to pause because I didn't make notes, but I know it's in the Lane magazine. Arborio? Ooh. I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna find it for you guys because I just am being ridiculous. Okay, I've got it. I remembered. Arbusto by Rosa Pomar, and it was in Lane magazine, the Nordic, I don't know if this is number 6 Heritage edition. This has a couple other patterns in here that I really want to do. So I am really going to be kind of diving into this. But for now, that was like the first one I wanted to get done and really like work on. But it's a really good edition. It's like last winter, I think, or last autumn, winter. So I'm not sure if you can get this still, but the patterns in here are really great. So the sweater I did was Arbusto, and it's this bobble sweater. You know me, I love bobbles. I don't enjoy doing them, but I really love the look of them. And I did my Arbusto in my Pop DK base, which is 100% superwash merino. And the color I did was Burnt Embers. And I don't have any of this color available right now on DK, but I do have it on my fingering base. So if you guys are interested in this color and you want some for a sweater or whatever, just contact me. We can arrange something. I can dye to order stuff. That's totally cool. But I loved this yarn. I used exactly 4 skeins, and I made them medium because my gauge is a little bit tighter. I fluctuate back and forth. Sometimes I think my gauge is looser than other people, and then other times I am tighter. So I've been very frustrated with some of the sweaters that I've made in the past because they've ended up being really tight, and I've made what I thought was my size, but because my gauge wasn't right and it didn't turn out. So I made a medium, and it fits amazing, and I love it so much. I did not expect to be able to wear it for a while, but I did get to wear it at convention I was at. So a couple weeks ago, we were in Wenatchee, and I went to the Northwest Quilt and Fibre show, Northwest Quilt and Fibre show, and it was in Wenatchee, and it was in their like hockey arena or something, and they had put down like boards on top of the ice, and then my booth was in the arena. And so it was cold in there because the ice is coming up from the floor, even though you've got boards, and I had a carpet and everything. I was still really cold. So I wore it. It was like almost 100 degrees outside, but the sweater really came in handy in the middle of that ice arena. And so I wore it both days I was at the show because it was the only sweater I brought. And I thought, okay, well, even if I don't get to wear it, I could showcase it on one of my mannequins or something so people could see how the yarn knit up. But it worked out perfect, so I got to wear it, and I love this sweater so much. I really love the way that it fits. The sleeves ended up being almost like a bracelet length, so not quite 3/4, or not quite full length, but not as short as 3/4 length. And like I said, I only had 4 skeins of this dyed up for the sweater, and I made it work. And I even added like a little bit extra length to it, and yeah, it just turned out great. But the nice part about this sweater is that I know it's a lot of like reverse stockinette on the outside, but you really didn't knit it that way. You knit it inside out, so you're knitting mostly in the round, and it was great. It's so amazing. So if you guys want a fun bobble sweater, like, this is a really great piece. I'm happy to have it in my wardrobe. I'm looking forward to wearing it a bunch this winter. People will probably get sick and tired of seeing me in it, but I'm going to be wearing it a lot. So let's see. The other things I'm on this kick, and you guys might have seen these if you've been following my Instagram. I have been making the Twist of Fate beanie, and I don't know her name. It's Kitty's Knitty Creations on Instagram, and it's the Twist of Fate beanie. It is a pay-for pattern, but it's one of those that you do with like chunky yarn, and she is okay with you selling the hats if you wanted to do them for like a craft fair or something. You can sell them in small quantities, as long as you're giving credit to the designer when you do that. And I thought that was kind of cool. So, because these are really great and they go so fast. So if you guys have been watching me on Instagram, I've made, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 of these now. And they're going to be Christmas presents basically. And everybody is getting one of these Twist of Fate beanies, I swear. So the first one is in some bulky yarn that I dyed. I was just playing with some single ply bulky, and this is the first one I did, and it's done either in a 11 for the brim and a 13 for the main crown of the hat, or 13 for the brim and a 15 for the main crown of the hat, I think. Depending on the yarn. I've been using the 11-13 combination for all of my yarn choices, and it's been really great. So the hat is super cute. And this one is not as slouchy because the yarn is a little bit skinnier than the other bulkies I've been using. But I really, really like this color. So this is one of the ones I'm going to keep. I bought a little like furry faux fur pom-pom for it. And I think I'm going to keep this one. And then I did one, the rest of these are all in Malabrigo Rasta, which is one of the yarns that the gal uses in the pattern design. And I just really, really like these. But I did do two that were in an acrylic from Joann's. I think it was Lion brand Thick and Quick or something like that. It's a bulky. One of them was like a black with the little tweedy speckles, and the other one was the Portland wine color, I think. And I gave those to my niece and my sister because they are always complaining about wool being itchy, which I think they're crazy, but whatever. Everybody's different and the sensitivities are different. And I mean, yes, some wools are itchy, but I do not think that superwash merino is itchy at all. But so I did make two acrylics for them, and then I made a Malabrigo Caracol, which is their kind of like their Rasta, but it is the one that's wrapped in the black netting. I made a hat for a coworker who was leaving, and she had her last day, and so I gave her the hat, and then turns out she's not leaving. She didn't like the new job that she got, so she's coming back. So now I just told her, I'm like, okay, well, you're not getting that for Christmas. That's your Christmas present, pretty much. So this is Rasta in the Paris Night colorway, and it's just this lovely dark navy blue. So I have that one. This one, I don't remember all the colors because you guys, I'm ridiculous, but it's this like lovely, it kind of is coming up more blue, but it's almost like a fluorescent dark purple, it's really, really pretty. Oh, Jacinda. This is Jacinda. I remembered. This is Archangel colorway, and this I might be keeping too because this was yarn that was gifted to me in a birthday swap that I did with someone, and I had just one skein of it, and I really liked the color, but I didn't know what I was going to do with it, so that's why I was excited to find this pattern. So that one's Archangel, and then this last one is Indicita, I think. And I've got like 5 more skeins of Malabrigo Rasta coming from, I think Jimmy Bean wools, because I have a couple other coworkers that need hats. And one of them is a gentleman who I think I might not do the cable pattern for the gentleman. I might just do like a garter hat, like a bulky Reiki style hat, but I'm not sure, so I might just do plain stockinette too for the guy, because guys are kind of, he's kind of a quiet guy, and I don't want it to be like too out there for him. I want him to be able to enjoy it and not be uncomfortable wearing it. So yeah, I made 8 of those hats. They're really, really fun. And they go 2 hours, maybe, so fast. So they're great for, just a quick knit. And that's all I've really been wanting to do lately. But now I'm out of the Rasta yarn, so I have to kind of move on to some of these other projects. So those are all my finished objects for today. I feel like I've done more, but like I said, I was in a little bit of a funk, and I was trying to decide after finishing the gloves what I was going to cast on, and I had a couple patterns in mind, and I thought I had some good color combinations going for some of these patterns. And when I actually started knitting out the pattern, I did not like what was happening. So the next one I'll show you was my attempt at that, and it's not even done. I'm ripping it out, but I wanted to show you. I was going to make the Maritimo tee by Caitlin Hunter, and I wanted to use, this is Couch Potato by The Creative Obsession. I bought this a while back. It's like this pale yellow with flecks of gold and green and wine burgundy like in there. It's really, really pretty color. And I thought this would be great for the lacy section. And then I was gonna do, I had this dark purple, just like a single from something. I think it was the Fibre seed. It was Sprout package of like 4 or 5 different little minis, and this was one of the minis in there. And so I thought those two went really well together. And then I had bought some Kim Dye's yarn from last year's the Fibre Fusion Festival I went to, and it's really beautiful, but when I started knitting it up, it's more variegated, slightly stripy, and I didn't really like the way that looked. And when I wanted to change alternate skeins because I wasn't sure how. One of the skeins seemed a little bit darker than the other one, and so I didn't want any kind of weird pooling or anything like that. And I was doing the same technique I'd used on my Arbusto sweater, which was you basically just every row and you drop and pick up on the next row with the other yarn. And it was just like, it's not the helical knitting, it was just this knitting tutorial I had watched on how to change colors in the round without giving you like noticeable line. But I must have been still pulling really tight at that spot because you could see it looked like it was being cinched in, and that was bothering me way more than the color was. So I just decided, I got literally through the entire bottom lace section and onto the body and was not happy with the way that it looked, so hence ripped it all out. I'm still working on ripping it out, but I might try to salvage this part and get it back on the needles. We'll see. It might be difficult to get the lace back kind of where it was, but I decided that I'm going to pick a different yarn for the main base of the body and still use the Couch Potato and that Little Berry Sprout purple color because I thought those went really well together. So I needed to find something that went with this. And we have spent a couple weekends at Long Beach, Washington. And when we drive there, it's really interesting how we get there. So we live in Vancouver, Washington. And the way that the Oregon and the Washington border kind of go, for us, it's faster to drive further north instead of south into Oregon and go to the coast. You drive further north into Longview. Then you get back over into Oregon, and then you drive along the highway, which is Highway 30, all the way out to Astoria. And then you cross the bridge back into Washington to get to Long Beach. And that seems to be faster than driving into Oregon and going Highway 30 directly out of Portland, or even going the Ocean Highway out of Longview, which is the other side of the Columbia River. So we stopped in Astoria and we had food at this place. It's called the Bow Picker, and it's got really amazing tuna, fish, and chips. There's usually a line, and you have to wait like an hour sometimes in this line because it's literally out of this boat, kind of like a food cart. And they only are open certain hours. They're open until the fish runs out, and it's really good. So we got to Astoria early one day and kind of wanted to have lunch there. So we sat in line for an hour and got our fish and chips, and they were really good. And then walked down the road, and down the street from the Bow Picker is Candy Skeins, which is a local yarn store in Astoria. So I went there, and I was in the midst of deciding what I was going to do with that Maritimo tee, and I saw these two skeins of yarn from Hue Loco, and I thought these would be perfect. So these are like a lighter purple, and they have specklings of yellow and green and stuff, and So I thought they'd go really well with this yellow color, as well as still having that dark purple. And that the fact that this is more speckled and less of a variegation, less solid chunks of color throughout, there's going to be a more even distribution of the color, and the speckles will be very nice throughout the tee, and they shouldn't be striping or pooling or anything like that. So this is going to be my new Maritimo tee eventually. So this colorway by Hue Loco is called Wood Nymph. It is on her 80-20, so 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 2-ply fingering, and it's 400 yards, it says, in 100 grams. And then, yeah, so I thought those would be great. That would be my new kind of combination for my Maritimo tee. So maybe that's going to be happening soon. Maybe not, because I kind of started a different sweater in the meantime because I got frustrated with that one, and I started another sweater. And that one is called, what's it called? Oh, Boxy Chevron by Suzanne Sommers, I believe. And the pattern is like, you do the arms like this, and then you have like this V-neck boxy thing that comes down here, right? So the first part that you're working on is these arms, and you work them flat, and then you join them together, and then you pick up, stitches on the bottom and yada yada. So I started doing one of the sleeves, and I was using the suggested needle size, and this is my first sleeve. And the pattern gauge is supposed to be, I don't know, like 25 stitches or something like that per inch. And I was getting 2 extra stitches per inch with my gauge, which means that my sleeve was going to be a lot smaller than the gauge by a lot. Than the actual pattern sleeve. So this was supposed to be 9 inches, I think, for the size, or 8 inches for my size, and I was a full inch smaller, so it's like 7 inches. And there was just no way, when I started kind of like playing with whether or not I could get it around my wrist, I was like, that is not going to work, because the sleeves really only tie like, a certain part, and they're not even like all the way down to the wrist. They're kind of like, this. And there was no way that was getting around it was ridiculous. So I had knit the entire sleeve, and it started on the second one when I finally figured this out and was like, okay, well, crap, that's not going to work. So I think I was using her pattern called for a 4, and I actually went up to, what are these? I think these are 6s. Yeah, I actually went up 2 needle sizes to a 6, and I'm still not exactly on gauge, but it's much better. And the stitches, I was worried that the stitches would look really too loose, but they don't. And the sleeves fit, and once it's blocked, it'll be a little bit looser too. So I'm doing the first size. It's a boxy sweater though, so it's supposed to be big. Like the chest is supposed to be like 51 inches or something like that. So mine is going to be a little bit smaller, but I'm really trying to pay attention to gauge and to make sure that, I actually wear this in the end. So very excited though, but I'm kind of on this boring stockinette part right now, but very good movie night knitting, that kind of thing. Yeah, so looking forward to working on this some more. The yarn that I used is my yarn in my alternative sock base, which is the 75-25. It is this speckled colorway down here is Bonkers, and then the dark gray was just kind of like a random dark gray that I had dyed. I didn't really have a name for it or anything like that. I just kind of was playing with gray options, and I thought it went really well with this. Originally, I was using this yarn for a brioche design I was putting together, but I saw her wearing this boxy chevron, and hers was like a black and white speckled, and I really thought it was beautiful and thought this would be a good option for me. So we'll see. You end up picking up stitches. I'm a little concerned about the neckline, but I think because it's kind of splitting the stitch right there a little bit, it's not that I've dropped a stitch or anything, it's just spreading the stitches out. So I think though, once I pick up stitches for the neck, I can close that gap up pretty easily. But once I finish the body, it's done. Like, I don't have to weave in ends anymore in the arms. I will have to patch up a little hole, in the underarm area, but that's not a big deal. So yeah, I'm very, very excited. And I think this will be a super cute sweater. And you do like this little pop of color on the sleeves. So I used some of my Hubba Bubba hot pink and used that as the accent because I thought that was really pretty. So that is Boxy Chevron by Suzanne Summers, or Sosu Knits, I think is the brand. Yeah. So I've been working on that, but see, that was all happening at the same time. Like the Maritimo tee, I wasn't liking the way it was coming out. I had done the sleeve of this Boxy Chevron and it was small, and I was just like wanting to pull my hair out because I was very frustrated that nothing seemed to be going the way it should be going. But it's better now, so that's good. Let's see, what else have I got here? Oh, I've got some socks to show you guys. Except, excuse me, pardon the interruption here. But I am at the Wenatchee yarn show I was doing. I was able to finish one of my new sock designs I'm kind of working on. This is in my alternative sock, again 75-25, the Mintastic colorway. It's just this lovely mint color. I was using this originally for my Shui shrug, and I did not think I was going to finish that, even though it's super cute. I decided I was just going to rip it out, so I'm making socks out of the yarn. And it's just a little lace and garter stitch pattern. So I've got one of those done. I got it done at the show. And then I was able to start the second one, and I've got the leg of the second one going, and I just started the heel flap on this one. And I'm hoping to be done with this one fairly soon. Excuse me. And I'm just using it like my little, I got this from the Sew Expo, or no, Vogue Knitting Live a couple years ago. It was like a bag kit, and I just thought the fabric was really, really cute. So I made a little bag out of it. And that is something I'll be working on, writing up the pattern, that kind of thing. And then the other sock design that I'm working on is in this cute new little bag that I got from Withering Sheep. And this is the bag. It is freaking adorable. She embroiders all of that, and I think machine embroiders, but it's all embroidered on that front, and it's on this lovely like linen. And then inside, which is so cool. It'd be perfect if I was doing 2 at a time socks, but I'm not. But it's this split bag, and it has these little snaps on the side here that you can like snap your yarn into, kind of like a yarn guide, I think. And it's got one on one side and then one on this other side, and then 2 pockets basically here, maybe for your balls of yarn, your separate colors. Or if you're doing like a color work or something, it could hold it. And then it's even got like a little zippered pouch on the inside. It is so, so cute. The bag itself is a little small. That's why I say I think it's perfect for socks, 2 at a time socks. But super cute and really neat construction inside. So started following her on Instagram. I'm going to be keeping an eye out because I really do think this is a very, very cute, well-made little bag. And lots of neat little touches inside. So that's Withering Sheep. And then I am doing my next sock design out of O-Loops in the Fashion Knot base, which is her sparkle base. It is 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and 5% gold stellina. I do carry Fashion Knot in the shop. I've got lots of fun colors right now. This one is Bellini Breeze. And the only reason I ended up with this one, I mean, I love this color. It's beautiful. But at the Wenatchee show, a gal was buying a skein. And when I went to wind it up for her, I cut the wrong thread and ended up splitting the hank in 2 different sections, which was really bad. So I didn't want to give her that one because I didn't want her to have a skein that was a part skein or 2, separate pieces. Here you go. One's like, this amount and one's this amount. Like, that's not what she wanted, I'm sure. And I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't, it's easier to just work from one skein instead of working from 2 if you have the option. So I pulled another skein out and just wound it up for her, and I just set this one aside, and I thought, well, I can do a sample out of it or make a pattern out of it. So I am doing some socks, and I'm kind of playing with this like honeycomb design on the front. And I had started these with some other yarn on a different set of needles. But I think, so these are Chowgoo size 1.5. And the ones I started on were Chowgoo 1s. I'm doing like this sock I'm doing on my Addy ones. And I think Addy ones are more like 1.5s almost. Because I felt like my gauge on the Chowgoo 1 was really too small. And I was having a hard time getting the sock over my foot. So that seemed kind of stupid, and so I just stopped doing that one, and I moved over to this 1.5, and that seems to be better. Like, it has it has a very nice like stitch definition and a nice tight gauge, but it fits on my foot a little bit better. And this is 64 stitches, and like I said, I'm playing with this just honeycomb pattern, kind of doing some different things with it on the front. Whether this will be an actual like sock design in the future, we'll see. But I really am enjoying it, and I love the yarn and how it's working up. And yeah, that little honeycomb is really fun, and it looks super cute. So I'm working on those, and gosh, I think that's most of the knitting I've been doing. I showed you guys my acquisition here, and then my 2 Hue Loco skeins from Candy Skeins in Astoria, but I also bought some DK yarn in Astoria at Candy Skeins, also Hue Loco, because I haven't ever had any of her yarn, and so I wanted to, buy some, because why not? And so I bought this one, which is a DK weight, and I thought it'd be great for a hat, and it's called Dirty Talk. It's 100% superwash merino, 230 yards, 100 grams. And I loved the colors. I love kind of the base of the gray with the bright pinks and blues and greens and stuff on top. It looks really, really cool. So I'm looking forward to doing something with that. I'm not sure yet what it's going to be. Maybe a hat. We'll see. Maybe a cowl. I don't know if I have enough for a cowl, but a hat for sure. So anyway, I got that. And you saw the bag I got. I'm trying to think if I got anything else. No, I don't think so. Except for all those, Rasta skeins that you basically saw knit up. I think I just want to show you guys some new colorways that I've loaded into the shop. I've tried to revamp the website too. So if you go to my section of the website, so it's under yarn or yarn and you, and most of what I had before was the base of the yarn, and then if you went into that you would see like the different colors. Well, what I've done is I've changed it up now, and you've just got the colors that I offer, and then if you go into the color that you like, you'll see if it's available and what bases it's available on. I thought I'd do that a little bit better because then people can actually see the color and decide, like, just from the get-go, do I like this color? Yes, no, move on. Versus, you know, I'm not sure what the base is, and then, you know, whatever. So I just changed it up a little bit. Hopefully it's a little, it's not confusing for anybody if you go on there, but it is yarnandyou.com, and I'm going to pause and grab a couple of those new colorways that I loaded so you can see what they look like. And then, yeah, that should be close to it. Hang on. Okay, so a couple news things, and then I'll let you get, show you guys all the new yarn and stuff that I've got in the shop. I decided to sign up for Vogue Knitting Live Seattle. I'm very, very excited and kind of scared. I'm gonna do have a booth there this year. It's like March 12th through the 15th or 13th, 14th, 15th, something like that. And so if you're in the Seattle area and you're planning on going to Vogue Knitting Live this next year in 2020, come and visit me. I'm going to have a booth. I'm not sure where yet, but I will be looking forward to seeing all of you. And I still think I'm going to try to do the Sew Expo, which is a couple weeks before Vogue Knitting Live. So I'm just trying to work out with my schedule on my regular job if I can get both of that time off. But I've done the Sew Expo in Puyallup a couple years now, and I really enjoyed it. So I do want to go back if I can manage the time. And then a couple weeks later, I'll have Vogue Knitting Live. So I'm going to have to really be dyeing a lot. So I'm going to try to come up with kind of a set number of colorways that I'm happy with, and then just kind of bust out a bunch and kind of stockpile and get ready for those shows, because it's going to be fun and exciting. So anyway, yeah, I'm a little nervous, but very, very excited. So if you're going to be in the area, come visit. And yeah, so in the shop I've got a bunch of new colorways, a bunch of stuff loaded, but these are the brand new ones that I kind of wanted to show you guys. So this first colorway is Aloha, and it's this kind of, reminded me of Hawaii. And this is on my alternative sock base. I had some on DK, but I don't think I might still have some on DK too. So that was one of the new colorways. And then I have this one, which is like this purple and red. And I called this one Lavender Brown. And then this is one of my favorites. One of my favorite new colorways, and I seriously want a sweater out of this. It's Hermione. I love this. I love the way this turned out. It was a different kind of technique I was doing, and it just turned out great. And then this is Pressed Flowers. This one's another one that I really like. All right, I have Puffskin. I was going for, I was feeling Harry Potter-ish, guys. Lots of Harry Potter inspired colorways. Toucan Sam. Just like this black, green, and red. Some rainbow sherbet. This one is Arch Cape. This one is Wine Party. And last, I think, Peach Sorbet. So those are just some new colors I added to the shop. I had a lot of fun kind of playing and seeing what I could come up with. But I do really have to crack down now and get ready for the big shows. So anyway, that's pretty much all that's been happening in my neck of the woods. I enjoyed getting back in here and getting ready, getting kind of into the podcasting mode. And hopefully I will see you guys in the near future, and you won't have to wait so terribly long for another episode. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Bye.